Hello, you guys. Let me pin this tweet. I see you, Deesha. But I lost y'all. Ha, ha. Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
good. Cheers.
Cheers to you. I have
Thank
been
you.
I have been so excited about this
Me
literary wine,
too.
and to know that you love Malbec is even better.
Listen, I don't remember who introduced me to it, but it was like love immediately. And I usually can't drink red wines because of the tannins, but it's Malbec is one that I can drink without getting a massive headache. So it
Right.
worked out.
So I'm not drinking a Malbec tonight, but I'm gonna talk about
Okay.
what I'm drinking. I'm drinking
Okay.
so I'll start off with that. We're just gonna
Okay.
go out of order tonight because this is
Okay.
literally, I love the fact that I'm closing out 2020 with you. This is my last,
Oh, I'm
yes,
honored.
this is my last wind down, literary wind down for 2020. Unless
Okay.
something spectacular, something crazy comes up, this
Okay.
is it. So we're going out with a bang.
I love it. I love
So
it.
I am winding down, and I need the wind down. Literally, after all of everything that's been going on, I need the
Yes.
wind down. So
Yes.
I'm winding down with Chaos Theory,
Okay.
and it's by Brown Estate, and they're Black owned, and they are in
Love
Napa.
it.
They're the
Love it.
only Black owned winery in Napa Valley, and so shout out my Delta Sigma
Look
Theta,
at that.
um,
Nice.
but yeah, Chaos Theory, and it's a red blend. It's Zinfandel, it's Cab, and Syrah,
Mm-hmm.
and it is medium body. It is
Ooh.
delicious. It
Okay.
is delicious. And I don't think it would give you a headache. I think you would really like it.
All right. I'm gonna try that on your recommendation then to try something new and support Black businesses.
Yes, they have
That's
really
it for
good
me.
wine. So, and you
Okay.
are drinking them all back. I love
Yeah.
Malbec.
Mine is from the black box. I'm sorry. I'm
It's
not fancy.
okay. Listen, we do not discriminate against wine.
I
We do
need to
not.
get one of those toppers because it's usually just me. And so the wine that in spirit stores here run by, I'm in Pennsylvania, it's run
Uh-huh.
by the state. So when the shutdown happened, they initially closed all of the stores. And then people had to explain to them, like, there's some people who are alcohol dependent and like people can get sick.
Yes.
But at the time before they did that, and plus I just didn't want to go out of my house, I was figuring out who would deliver to Pennsylvania. So I ordered like 8 boxes of wine.
I'm gonna send you some links because since I know that you like,
Ooh,
there are some I think that you would really enjoy.
okay. I would love that. Thank you.
So hello everyone. I know a lot of you have been waiting. So let me tell you, Disha, people have been waiting for this chat.
Aw.
And I'm sure they're going to have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Somebody said the name of the wine I'm drinking is Chaos Theory, and it's by Brown Estate. You go online, and it's right there. It's like I think it's $40, but it's worth
Mhm.
the $40. Trust me, it's worth it.
It's weird
Um,
watching myself drink. It's
it's
like,
weird, right?
yeah.
I've gotten used to it though.
Okay.
I've gotten used to it because it is weird watching yourself drink and then
Yeah,
having
I'm
other
like,
people watch you drink, right?
yes, that's it. I'm like, am I leaning? Do I sit up? Good posture? I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. So I just want to welcome everyone to Literary Wind Down. If you're new to the series, my name is Jamise, and I'm the bookstagrammer behind Spines and Vines. I actually want to say thank you to everyone that supported Literary Wind Down since we started in June. And I'm so happy to have Deesha Philyaw with me today to
Thank
talk about
you.
her amazing,
Right
amazing,
here.
amazing. And you know what? I was out of tabs and I was bending my pages. I was mad about
Oh.
that. But I cannot wait for the audiobook. Are we getting the audiobook?
Yes, December 29th. And the narrator is a veteran audiobook narrator, Janina Edwards.
Okay.
And I can't remember now off the top of my head like what she's done before, but this is not her first time at the rodeo.
Okay.
We had a couple of people, the way the audiobook company did it, they sent some auditions because I got approval. And I said, they have to be Black.
Yes.
And it's a Southern, this book would be read with a Southern accent. Like those are
Right.
the things that I'm not wavering on.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me somebody who was who I was like, she doesn't even sound Black. She doesn't sound human. She sounded like Siri, like if Siri
Mm-hmm.
was reading my book. And then they sent somebody else that kind of sounded like Blanche Devereaux if she was drunk.
No.
Right, right. And then when I heard Janina, and I could tell you the passage she read the passage where in Eula, where Caroletta is remembering
Oh.
when that birthday when she was sitting on her lap. And she says, "Do you ever feel like you could just bust?" When she said that line, I was like, that's exactly how I heard it. Her.
Good.
And so it's going to be a real treat. It's December 29th. The audiobook will
So
be out.
I will definitely be pubbing that for you. I will definitely put that out because I love a
Thank
good
you.
audiobook. I do. And
Thank you.
I actually, we get, as bookstagrammers, you get a lot of books. And I did not wait for anyone. I went and purchased this book because I felt like I wanted
Thank
to
you.
support. That mine doesn't have a sticker on it, from National. Congratulations on the National Book
Thank
Award
you.
finalist.
Thank
We're
you.
claiming that it's going to be the winner. I think a lot of people in the chat are talking about, we're claiming that now.
I'm claiming it too. I'm claiming it too.
A Black Man Reading said he can be the male voices for your audiobook. He's like,
I'm expecting Achille and Reggie to do some kind of reenactment or something.
I mean,
y'all got to give me something.
Right.
Robert Jones, if you go to my IG page now, Robert Jones read the end of Eula. Have you heard that?
I have not.
Oh, please go and do yourself a favor. I was like, Robert, that gave me chills, and I wrote it.
Okay, I'm gonna listen.
And
to
you
that.
know how Eula ends, right?
Yes.
He read that.
And they did such a good job discussion for your book. I'm sure you've seen it. It was phenomenal.
I stayed up late and I woke up early listening to them, and I was crying. I was like, they gave my book so much love, and it's like I fell in love with the book again listening to them. And somebody asked me today, like, how do I define literary success? And that's it. Like when it's something you do inspires people to have healing conversations, inspires people to laugh, where people see themselves and feel understood. Like,
right.
That's it for me. So when they did that, I was like, I mean, the National Book Award would be great.
Yes, it would be fantastic. Me wrong,
but it's that kind of connection. And and I did not anticipate that the diversity of the people that the book would resonate with, and in particular with Black men. I really was not expecting that. So I really appreciate them, and looking forward to their show in the future.
Yo, it's Sundays.
Yes.
It's on Sundays. And so it's always good. I would try to always catch it on Sundays. 4:00, you guys. Reggie reads and A Black Man Reading, 4:00. Yeah. So let's get to it. I didn't even do an intro. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Gosh, I'm from the South. I'm gonna start right there. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm from Duval
County.
But I have been in Pittsburgh since 1997, but I still identify primarily as a Southerner, and Pittsburgh does not feel like home.
Right.
There was a study that came out that said what Pittsburghers always knew, which is that this is the worst city in America for Black men, Black people, and Black women in particular.
Right.
So despite that, and you know how we do, in spite of, we thrive and we prosper. So, but this has been my home since 1997. I've been writing fiction for about 20 years. It took some detours along the way, obviously. And it was really working in earnest on a novel when my agent suggested that I write this collection instead, because I had stalled on this novel and I had started writing these short stories. And my agent had seen me read them at events. And she said, well, while you're taking a little hiatus from the novel, why don't you do some more of these church lady stories? And I was like, I hadn't really thought about it. But yeah, that felt, it's not that it's easy to write a collection, but it felt less overwhelming to me than the novel I was trying to work on. And that's less problems with that novel that now I can solve that I was not in a position to solve at that time. So I've always watched Black women. I grew up in the church. And so I'm always watching the women in the church, also watching the women outside of the church.
Right.
And I have a kind of interesting relationship with the church in that my mother and my grandmother, they raised me. They sent me to church, but they didn't go to church.
Yes.
So already I got questions about that. And they didn't start going to church until I was in college. So So I had a lot of questions about what it meant to be good, what it meant to be a woman, and then all this heaven hell stuff. It really just sort of
Right.
forces these binaries about who you are and what you can and can't do. And like life just isn't that neat for a
Hmm.
lot of people.
Right.
And so I had a lot of questions that, I never really shook, but I was also impressed by the women in terms of just their presence and how they dressed. And I was curious about their lives, and that curiosity never left me. And so they would show up in my fiction. When I started writing fiction, I wasn't like, I don't want to write about church ladies. It was, I want to write about dissatisfied women, because I was a dissatisfied woman when I started
Yeah.
writing fiction.
Hmm.
And they emerged as church ladies
Because
over
I was going to ask you, I said,
decades.
what made you want to write about church ladies? And so that
Yeah.
was one of my questions.
Yeah. That
So,
dissatisfaction that I was feeling at that time, this would have been in the early 2000s when I started
mhm.
writing. And but I wasn't confident enough to write about what I was going through and what I was experiencing. And so I put some of those feelings and some of that dissatisfaction, I gave it to these characters, and
Hmm.
I made them older than me. I was trying to put some distance, and I made them older than me, and they were all rooted in the church, because I think that's because what I knew, and was so familiar with. When I imagined women's lives, it was women in the church.
In the church.
And then as time went on and I was writing more, it was like women in the church who were grappling, again, that dissatisfaction piece. And it showed up in a lot of different ways, but that dissatisfaction was the thread that went through all of it. And so then when my agent, fast forward 13 or so years, my agent made that suggestion. Well, not 13 years, but fast forward like almost a decade, my agent made the suggestion about being intentional about a collection. I had already had two stories, and then I keep everything. So I might start a story, I might find a line of dialogue, I might overhear somebody say something, or I might have an idea and I jot it down and I save it. And I may not come back to it for a year, 5 years, 10 years. I always
Oh,
come back to
wow.
things.
Okay.
And so some of the stories in the collection I started like 4 years ago.
Hmm.
It could have been just a sentence, and then I, brought it back. So when she said that, then I looked at like, what did I have in terms of stories that were in part, partially started, or other ideas. And then I got intentional that every story would have either a church lady or someone that I consider church lady adjacent, which
Hmm.
is they may not still be in the church, but
Yes.
someone who's influential in their life is in the church.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's just like a line in the story, like in the story Not Daniel, the only reference is that she talks about being away from their mother's Jesus and garbage theology. And other than that, there's no reference, but she's church lady adjacent, the
Yes.
narrator of that story. So lots of different kinds of stories, and then just having that one connection point. Um, and then only after I finished the book and turned it in to the publisher did I realize, wow, this is a lot about mothers and daughters. I wonder
So
why.
that's another one of my questions too. I thought, like, because that's a difficult relationship, right?
Yes.
On so many
And
levels, and it's difficult at different phases in your
yes.
life, right? I
Yes.
have a 26-year-old daughter, so it's,
Okay.
and I know my relationship with my mother, but I just think that it's rooted in a lot of mother daughter relationships. So is that
Yeah.
something that's personal to you, or
Yeah.
because that came out really strong to me, the mother daughter relationship?
Yeah. It's personal to me, but it was totally subconscious. Like clearly I had some things to work out, because I
Okay.
wasn't thinking I'm writing about mothers and daughters, but it was so strong. And you'll notice that I'm usually writing from the point of view of the daughter,
Yes.
because like you, I have a daughter. I have two daughters. One is almost 22. She'll be 22 next month. And I have one that just turned 17. And I don't know that I'm ready to write about being the mother yet, because I feel like that's still a kind of a work in progress.
Right.
But my mother, and I have said this, my mother, the relationship with my mother is like the defining relationship of my life.
Hmm.
And I lost my mother to breast cancer in
I'm
2005, and she
sorry.
was only 52. Thank you. And we made our peace before she died, and I'm really thankful for that. But there's still unfinished business, because we made our peace when she was in hospice, right? So there was not
Right.
like a lot we could do,
Yes.
in terms of healing. And so I think that that unfinished business came out in pieces in the different stories. You
Mhm.
know, there's no one character in the book that's me. There's no one character in the book that's my mother. I'll say
Right.
that. But there are pieces of us in our relationship spread throughout. And it was once I turned that book in that I was like, wow, there's a lot of mother-daughter stuff in here. And
It is.
I think it was healing for me.
I was going to ask, was it
Yeah,
therapeutic for you? Yeah.
it was, because one of the things that I did not learn until my mom passed away, and I didn't have the language for it. So I'll put a pin in that. But here's what I learned, and I got the language for it from KSA Lehman. Fast forward last year, I met KSA when he came to Pittsburgh for an event, and I asked him a question. And I had forgotten that I was the person that asked him this question until he reminded me. I said, what do we owe our mothers? Because if you're familiar with KSA's
Yes.
memoir,
Heavy.
it's
Hmm.
about that, very difficult relation. I mean, difficult isn't even the word for that relationship with his mother.
Yes.
So I asked him, what do we owe our mothers? And he said, we owe it to them to see them as more than our mothers. And I don't think I saw my mother as more than my mother until she died,
Right.
And so I think we miss out on so much,
Yeah.
but we have to heal the parts that need to be healed before we can get to that part.
Right.
And sorry, my dog is like moving my
No, it's okay.
stick. Um, so, so I think that when she passed away, I wasn't there yet.
Hmm.
And exploring these mothers who in many ways in these stories, they fail their daughters.
Yes.
But I tried not to write any of them as just so flat and sort of demonized. Like I understand, like people want to fight the mother in Peach Cobbler. People want to,
Yes.
fight.
Yes.
They're just, the mothers don't always come out looking great. But I hope that with some distance, because they are not our mothers, we can see them kind of as people and see how their daughters are grappling with them as
Hmm.
people. I think it comes out really strong in when Eddie Levert comes,
Yes.
where it's like sometimes our mamas are just not going to be able to give us.
What we need.
Yeah,
They're not. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So what do? You got to live your life, you
Yes, you
know?
do. Hmm.
So,
You do. So, I want to say one thing about this book. It is hella black.
yes,
And
yes,
pardon me for
yes.
anybody who's offended, but it is
Here.
hella black. And I like that you took your time. You can tell that you took your time.
Yeah.
Um, and the way that you talk about Black women and the things that we long for and that we yearn for, um,
Mm-hmm.
and the intersection of the South,
Yeah.
church, and then being Black.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know, how did you meld that all together? Because it's, I mean, I know being from the South, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's perfect. It really is.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
um, I think it came out of my own longing, right? And so, longing for my mother,
Hmm.
missing my mother, missing the South,
Yeah.
missing the voices, missing those older women. I grew up in a household with my grandmother, and in many ways, I feel like a little old lady, because I can still, certain things I think and certain things I say, I'm like, gosh, I sound just like her. My
Hmm.
grandmother used to we had these cats that lived outdoors, and man, she would cuss the cats out. And so there's that's when I don't cuss my dog out. Just nobody start worrying. Don't call,
Right.
the
Don't call
people on
Pika.
me.
The
Don't
dog is
call the
fine.
people.
Right.
But the, fussing with animals, just certain things that, were, turns of phrases. I mean, there's nobody like Black women. There's
No,
nobody like us. And then
no.
Black women of a certain age, so I really enjoyed writing Jael's granny, because those are the women that I grew up with, and
Yeah.
the things that they said, and how, and those praying grandmamas, they're praying over you all the time,
Yeah.
and all the
We're
shade,
still living off of some of the prayers if you're, I mean, the grandmothers. I
yes,
mean, seriously.
yeah. I said this about
We have the
somebody
favor that we have because of praying
because
grandmothers.
of them.
Hmm.
I said this about somebody, became Twitter famous over, for all the wrong reasons. And I said to somebody, I was like, you can tell he don't have a praying grandma that's praying over him.
Right.
It's like, we could be in or out of the church. You can tell, like, when you're just covered,
We are covered. Yes.
And yet that shade, like, because there's a part in Jael where she, like, all this mayhem is going on, and Grandy's like, how she this little heifer gonna talk about my crabs like that? And it's just, the that that the conflict of, they love us so much, and sometimes it's smothering, and sometimes, they're hurtful, sometimes they're like mean as snakes. It's all of those things,
Yeah.
that you don't just get a grandma that just bakes, you don't get a grandma that just, it cheers you on. Like, they do that, and you got some other stuff. Like, there's steady, it comes up in which story is it? Snowfall, where they're feeding
That's my
you
favorite.
and telling you how much weight you gain at the same damn time.
At the
Like,
same, or saying something slick out their mouth and you can't say anything to them because
no,
they know they're older and you can't say anything back, but they know what
exactly.
they're saying, right? They know
Exactly,
exactly what they're doing.
exactly. And so
Um,
I miss that. I
mhm.
miss that. I miss the South. I miss my mother. I miss my grandmother. I miss that familiarity. I miss being able to go to people's houses without calling first.
Yes,
I miss people coming and just eat. You cook enough because you don't know who's going to come over, and you got to
right.
make sure you got to feed people. I miss feeding people, especially now in this pandemic.
Yeah. I was reading
Yeah.
these stories, and so it's reversed for me because
Mm.
my parents are from the South, but I've never
Hmm.
lived in the South until I
Okay.
went to college. But all my family's in the South. They're in Tennessee.
Okay.
So for me, it's like when I go there, and I remember going to my grandmother's house, and it was just like, I never got sent for the summers or anything like that,
Hmm.
but I just was there, and I just read everything that you were saying and talking about the South and the
Hmm.
food and just sitting on the bed and all that.
Yeah.
It's just such
Yeah.
it's nostalgia, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like what we do. It's what we
Hmm.
find comfort in.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna kick you out,
Uh,
Achilles.
is he clowning in the
Jerry, yes, he is. I'm gonna kick him out. But
Albany, not Albany, Albany, Georgia?
Albany, Georgia, yes. And so, let's skip to one other thing that we have to talk about. We cannot talk
Okay.
about the church ladies are having sex.
They getting it in.
They are getting it in, and so it may be hard to imagine, people that auxiliary board, ushers, deaconess, but they are
Listen.
getting it in.
Yes.
And so I want to talk about the desires of religion versus
Yeah.
what you want versus religion, good girl. I mean, I hate
Yeah.
that good girl, bad girl
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
right?
The Madonna whore, good girl, bad girl, all of that. If you think about it, when we hear about church scandals, 9 times out of 10, it's sex related, right? I
Yes.
mean, sometimes it's, financial, fraud or excess or whatever, but, somebody got somebody pregnant. I mean, we got whole pastors with, like, whole other families in the congregation,
Yes.
so there's this impropriety, we would say, that
Mhm.
happens in the church. Everybody knows it. And often it's the women who are demonized, right?
Mhm.
And again, it's that black and white, you shouldn't have done that. This is right. This is wrong. Excuse me.
I think you're
Where,
a little fuzzy. We're losing your.
oh, okay. Because I think, let me change my outlet. Hold on one second.
Okay, no worries.
Plug in my phone somewhere else where it'll charge
You
better.
guys are out here in this chat room acting up, and
Are
I'm
they wilding?
the student, the people that I'm going to send to the back of the room. I'm not going to call out their names, but they know who they are.
Wildin'. Okay, so let me get my light back on.
Okay.
And so it's, so we think we know church women, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the mistress, or they're the ones who are getting cheated on, or they're the ones who are, being abstinent or whatever. But I was interested in looking at their interior lives and what
Right.
are the things that they only talk to each other about, they talk to other Black women about, or the things that they only keep to the things they keep to themselves. And taking the women out of the margins, centering them in their own stories, and going deeper than this sort of the binary, the banana whore, good girl, bad girl, and looking at the complexities and the layers that are there. That's what I was most interested in. If these women could tell their own stories rather than having somebody relegate them, what would they say? And so an example of that is Instructions for Married Christian Husbands. That initially, that story, I had like 10 pages written, and the main character was always who she was, and she had these serial affairs. And the part where she talks about the infantilized husbands of accomplished godly women or low-hanging fruit, like that section was in the original, and the section about getting undressed, in the ritual of getting undressed, that was in the original. And then it was like 10 pages of how these two met, and and I couldn't figure out, like, does he fall for her, does she fall for him? And then I realized I'm bored with that. I don't care who fell for who. Like, that's not the story that holds my interest. So around that same time, it was on social media, there was like the side chicks were doing these shirts like "I heart her husband," and I'm like, who would do such a thing? Like, that's just bold. And then the wives came back, but I got his 401k, or whatever. And it's like, so often the women are pitted against each other.
Yes.
The men are considered like ancillary, which is not fair.
Right.
And then if the mistress is considered at all, she's marginalized, she's demonized. And I was like, well, what if we flip the script and centered her, and what would she have to say? And everybody, and I I have a friend that we have been joking forever that there should be like a side chick academy, like, just because people come out and, like, again, the t-shirts or saying things out of pocket, like, there should be rules to this, right? Rules of engagement or something if you're going to do this. So I was like, but what if she centered if the narrative centered on the mistress, and what if she gave the rules? What if she made the rules for the guy?
And she gave rules. I mean, and I like this story. I think my favorite line when she said, "Tread until you are back on dry land." I mean, it's just like the ultimate, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do until you get back where you can feel safe, where you can walk and do what you need to do.
Yep.
And I love that you gave voice to the side chick, because there are many side chicks in the world.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them in Jamal Bryant's church, but
Oh my God. We are live.
They don't come for me. Y'all don't let them come for me.
Oh my God.
Sorry. It's the wine. It's the wine. Oh my God.
I really don't know what to say now. I can't even transition. Pardon me. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That I literally wait. Okay. Because he had a church here in Baltimore, now he's in Atlanta. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Somebody said don't blame
the wine. No, I'm not blaming the wine.
That's me.
I'm just listening. I'm listening.
Oh,
Reggie said he's logging out. So anyway.
Okay.
Because you knew this book was going to make us be real. I mean, we're talking about church, sex, and Black women. I mean,
that's
seriously.
That's right. That's right.
But so another part that I want to talk about, you got me crying.
Sorry.
Like, you have me crying.
I'm steaming up my glasses, y'all.
I literally can't talk about anything else from that comment. Like, literally. Can you talk about the importance? You include a wider spectrum in the way that Black women love.
Yes.
And I think that's important, because I think so often everyone always just thinks, the heterosexual love, just one way for Black women to love. Yeah. And it keeps us in such a box.
Yeah.
And so can you talk, and to be honest, a lot, growing up in the church, being in the church,
Mm-hmm.
it tends to be very homophobic.
Yeah. So I have two thoughts about that. One is, someone asked me a question about, the queer folks that are in the story, even if they wouldn't identify themselves as queer folks, but let's just, use that label. The question was, did I do that for the sake of, representation or whatever? And I kind of heard that as like, did I tokenize queer people? No, like I would never do that. I started again at my place of dissatisfied women and women in the church talking about their interior lives.
Right.
And I know that we're going to, talk about that broad a topic, part of what's interior, part of what's hidden for many women in the church is the desire for other women.
Yes.
Like, it's just, I mean, to me, that's just very simple. It's very matter of fact. But it's not always, but it's often framed in the traditional church. Now, we know there's some more progressive churches that are led by lesbian pastors, so we're not talking about them. But in the traditional Black church, you have to hide that. You have to treat it like, I always say, it's almost like when they talk about queerness as a defect, like it's some kind of club foot,
right.
Like you gotta,
right.
But it's not viewed as this is just human nature. This is just human nature. And it could be fluid. It could be, this is your how you're wired, or this is, something momentary, but the book wouldn't have been complete without that. Right. If we're trying to tell the truth. So that's the first part. And then the other part, it was important because I often think, how many people would be spared if they didn't experience homophobia in the church?
Yes.
Right? Like, how many people have taken their own lives? How many people are traumatized? How many people are self-medicated because they are torn between trying to do what the church says you must do to know God, to see heaven, and the desires? Like, those things should not be in conflict, but they are, and they're in conflict for us from the time we're little. Like, many of us have been in the church since we were little, and that's all we ever heard.
Yes.
And so if you're a
taught.
child and that's what you're taught and that's what you're shown, and then this is who you become, then you're at odds with yourself. And it takes a lot to choose yourself, and that's something that comes up in Snowfall. What do you have to lose something to be able to do that, and people shouldn't have to make that choice.
Yes, Snowfall. Snowfall, I think, is my favorite.
Okay. Most people say Peach Cobbler, so I'm feeling this.
A lot of people say Peach Cobbler, but I think Snowfall, because she talks about we lost all those things when we chose each other.
Yeah.
Yep. And so the choosing and what you lose because people don't accept your choices in life, right? It's just, it's when you want to strive for your desires, it always is in conflict with what somebody else believes.
Yes.
And so I think you should, personally for me, in this later stage of my life, I'm always choosing myself.
I hate to be morbid, but I'm going to be morbid. Like, that for me happened when my mom died. I was like, oh shoot, like I can't be walking around worrying about what people think. I don't have that kind of time.
Exactly.
None of us do. None of us do. You get this one life, and I might as well live it and do the things that I want to do. And if this pandemic hasn't shown us anything else, you don't know. That was the last trip you were going to take. That was the last person you're going to sleep with. Like, make it good. It's the last thing you're going to write. make it great. Right.
Yes.
The pandemic
Yes.
It's going to be great, because if it's not going to be great, I don't want it.
And then I think too, it also put a spotlight on what you would deal with or who you would deal with.
Yes.
Being in a pandemic. I think it's kind of like what you're going to tolerate or who you're going to tolerate. Like, that going forward, because time is, not of the essence, really.
That's right. Like, because I wonder, once that vaccine comes out and the world opens up again, what will happen to the divorce rate when people realize, like,
because they're tired of being cooped up with their people.
Exactly.
Like either it's going to shine the light on what's really, really bad, or it's going to make you guys closer. But speaking of, we're veering off. Just 1 second, you guys. Your first book.
Okay.
I haven't read it, and I did not
Okay.
know that you wrote a co-parenting book with your ex-husband. And me and
Did.
my ex-husband always said we wanted to write one. And I think that is just
Ah,
absolutely amazing, because the
thank
devil
you.
is a lie. You can be friends and make it work.
Mhm.
And so can you talk a little bit
Yep.
about that book and how you guys came to write this book?
Sure. So just to clarify, I've been married twice, and so that's my first ex-husband.
Okay.
Because I've written about the second one. I've met people be like, "Wait, what?" Two different men, two different relationships. But with my first ex-husband, who is my co-parent, we were getting along, and everybody would be like, "You guys are the poster children for divorce," and it's like nobody really wants to be the poster children for divorce.
Right.
But we kind of took that to heart. And so, people would tell us that. And so he came to me because he's a banker, and and he was like, "Well, you're a writer. You should write a book about this." And I said, I think it would be more impactful if we did it together. And so I was, again, trying to write fiction. And so that was another detour from
Right.
fiction. But I was like, okay, I have to learn how to write a book. Like, I don't know how to write a book. And so you have to have a platform. So that's when I was, blogging and got on social media, got on Twitter. We built the brand. And so, because now when you sell a book, you got to have a platform.
Yes.
They really want to see that. So we had our platform. And we didn't want it to be like, here's how we get along. We wanted it to be a practical guide for people,
Mm-hmm.
so that if you don't get along, you can find this book helpful. If only one of you is trying to get along, you can find this book helpful.
Yeah.
And aiming at a minimum of civility. Like, if you can't be friends, that's okay, but you can be civil. You can think about what's good for your kids, which is not like hearing you fighting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why you split up, right? So why are you still fighting?
Right.
And but people continue to act out even after, so I understand why. But if you're the only person in the situation that's going to act like a grown up and going to do right by your kids, here's a book that tells you how to do that and how to handle it when the other person is acting a
Mm-hmm.
donkey. And so we tried to make that practical guide. We tried to do things like a whole chapter on helping telling parents the importance of grieving the relationship you thought you were going
Yes.
to have, grieving the kind of family you were going to have, because if people do that kind of work, they're less likely to
Yeah.
be always in conflict. So I could talk about co-parenting all day, but
We're
that's
gonna
how
do
that
that. You
came
know
about.
what? We're gonna have that conversation. It's gonna be another wind down, because I think that is such
Okay.
a special book. I'm gonna read that book, and then we're gonna come back and talk about
Okay.
it, because I think that's something that people really need to hear.
Okay.
And everybody wants to get back to the sex and the
Okay, let's do it.
I understand. Um,
Reggie and Achille in there cutting up, I can
you know
just
what?
see it.
They are banned. They're gonna be banned from future, and they're not even drinking wine. I forget what did he say he was drinking? I forget what he said he was drinking.
Water. What? Who is it? It's Reggie that's always drinking water,
Yeah.
or at least he was on the episodes that I saw.
Yes. So, what was your favorite story on this collection?
Oh, see, it's like being forced to choose a favorite
I know
child.
everybody says that, but I don't let them get away with that, because
Okay, okay,
because
okay.
I never let people get away with that. There's always something that you like a little bit more,
Sure.
maybe at the time, or let's
Okay,
talk about what was your favorite and what was your most difficult to write.
okay. Well, so I have three
Okay.
categories. My favorite, I think, is Peach Cobbler, just because it has spoken to people um, so much. That's
Mm-hmm.
the one that people talk to me about most. And then there's a tie for my favorite to write.
Yes.
My favorite to write was How to Make Love to a Physicist and Instructions for a Married Christian Husband. I had so much fun writing those two. And then the hardest, I want to say that When Eddie Levert Comes is the hardest.
Okay.
It's actually, it wasn't the last one I wrote. It's last in the book, but I was getting towards my deadline, and I had already started that story, some like maybe the year before or something like that. And I just wasn't feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't know how to end it.
Okay.
I mean, at that point, like, I had an idea for the ending, and I always knew I wanted to end with where she's listening to Forever Mine and that line about stay.
Yes.
Um,
Oh my goodness.
but I didn't know what the ending would be to get us there. And I also, again, did not want to demonize Mama.
Right.
And so it was striking this balance of not demonizing this woman, but also not minimizing that she wasn't the mother that daughter needed her to be, and that she did a lot of things wrong as a
Mhm.
parent. So I wasn't quite sure how to navigate, to find that balance. Um, and I had to spend some time just like really getting to, like understanding what happened between them from child, like the childhood piece I got, and the where they were then I got, but that was that middle section of where they just were kind of like, there's a line in there, something about, from people looking on the outside would say they were close, and that's what I couldn't get. And I thought, that's the case for a lot of us. Like anybody who doesn't know, she picks her mom up, she takes her to the store, she takes her to the Girl
Yeah.
Scout meeting, there's a dutiful daughter. But beneath that is this stuff that's unhealed. And then she's got to take care of her,
Yes.
and so it was kind of bridging that gap and then trying to strike that balance where there are no angels and no demons.
So a lot of people they hook up. Eddie and Mama hook up.
I imagine that they did. Because why not?
Why not?
You
And then
know,
and that's the thing about it. I think that people make it seem like, that's what I love about this book, because it's like sex is not a bad thing, and it can be on your terms. And
right.
you could do it however you want with whoever you want. I mean, you could do what
Yeah.
you want to do. You can fulfill your desires. It's
Right.
not on anybody else's timeline or anybody else's
Right.
schedule. And so
Yep.
I want to go back to one. So since you talked about what your favorites are, right, I'm gonna tell you which one resonated
Okay.
with me the most. I
Okay.
love Snowfall. Like I love Snowfall.
Mm-hmm.
But How to Make Love to a Physicist,
Oh.
and I'm gonna tell you why. And this is very
Okay.
personal, but she got on my nerves because she was me. You know,
Oh.
she was
Okay.
me as far as you don't think that you deserve the good things, right?
Mm.
I mean, even you may have
Mm.
had bad relationships or divorce, what have
Yeah.
you, all the above. But then
Yes.
when you finally get to, somebody said, "Cause Jamisa be ghosting." That's what I said. Stop telling my business, Jared. So, but that's the thing. Somebody said 30 days. Yes. Because my boyfriend now of 4 years, I ghosted him for like 30 days, literally. And so I'm reading a story and I'm thinking, okay, so I don't know Deesha, but I think like she's talking about me personally. And it's not until you meet somebody that's grown, right? They're good and grown.
Yeah.
And they know what they want, that you have to be ready to receive.
That's it.
And so I don't think I was really ever ready to receive for those
Mm-hmm.
30 days. And then I was kind of still treading. And I will never forget what he said to me. He said, "I just need you in the water. You're going to catch the wave eventually." Right? And so
I
I'm reading
mean,
this story and I'm like, wow, we don't think. And so why is it, do you think that Black women, we go through so many different things. Why do we think that we don't deserve the good things, but we do everything?
right. Right. I mean, if you think about, now I got to get into history. Give
Okay,
me a minute.
let's go. Look, we're
Let's
good.
start from the beginning in this country. We were viewed as mules, literally as mules. And even now that we're, centuries past slavery, we're still expected to mule for everybody now,
Yeah.
including our families, including our, in our relationships. We're just expected to do all of the work. That was one of the reasons why daughter had her name, because that's all, she was named for her function. You're the daughter,
Right.
not her own person, right? And so I think that that's the case for a lot of us, maybe to degrees, maybe not to extreme degrees, but to the sense that the way we're raised is to take care of other people, to be concerned about what other people think and want and their comfort and how they see us. We are not taught to prioritize ourselves.
Right.
We're taught that that's selfish. We're taught that it's not godly. The Proverbs 31 woman, there's no, and then she rested and had self-care,
Yeah.
or she and her girls went to, none of that, so what are we praised for? We're praised for not taking care of ourselves. We're praised for taking care of other people and putting their needs first. And so it's radical for us to think we deserve anything, much less something as big as love. And the overarching, traditionally what we're taught in Christianity is about service, is about being selfless, is about being unworthy, is about being unclean, and you can't internalize all of that and not be affected by it. And so even to the point of, I just took this leadership training class I want to give a shout out to the Incarnation Institute for Sex and Faith. And they train sex educators, therapists, and clergy, and me, on sex positive Christianity. And one of the things we learned about was the psychology behind this idea that, we teach purity in churches and we teach abstinence. And then when people who've never had sex before get married, they are expected that it's going to be magical and it's going to be good.
I would not recommend that.
Right. And so we don't recognize how those teachings undermine all of our thinking about our bodies and other people's bodies and sex, so that even when you put it in the institution of marriage, you're not automatically a sex machine. You're not automatically good at any of this, because those messages of your body being, your body is, we're told it's a temple, but we're also told that the flesh is weak. Yeah. And it's going to be our downfall, and that women are evil, and, and Eve and the apple. You have to unlearn that. Yeah. In order to be able to feel like you're deserving and to feel like it's okay to be a sexual being with desires. We're not taught about sexual diversity in terms of, who and what we desire. We're not taught about sex as abundance. We're taught about it as scarcity. It's something you're giving away, that you're losing. Oh, don't start me.
But you know what? And so so you can't have this conversation without just being real and authentic. It's just, it's like, for me, I married the person that I had sex with. Right? So my advice going forward to my daughter is, don't do that. Marry the first and only person, because that's what you're taught.
What you're taught.
You get a boyfriend, you do this, you have sex, and then you marry this person. That's who you're with for the rest of your life. But when it doesn't work out like that, and you're not with them the rest, you feel as you have failed, right?
That's right.
And you haven't failed. And so
you're human.
You're human, right? You go through different things. And so I told both of them, I said, you know what? I said, you believe in God and you have your own faith and all that. I said, but there's no requirement that you should explore. You should not just wait until you get married. That's just my take. You call me a bad parent, I don't know. But that's just what I feel. We have some
people.
Okay. Good. No, go ahead. Take your comment.
I was just going to say, people need to study where those things in the Bible came from. Jesus didn't say that stuff. Let's just be real. So we're looking at the New Testament, and a lot of those early church fathers who those letters are attributed to, like, we don't even talk about translations changing and all of that and interpretations, but just looking at who they were, a lot of them were promiscuous before they became Christians.
Yes.
And so they saw the flesh and bodies and women in particular as dirty and as sources of evil. And this is who you have telling us what it means to be godly, what it means to be, to live in God's will and all of that kind of stuff. So you have to consider the source, but we don't often look at the source. We just say, oh, well, it's in the Bible, so then this, that, and the third.
You do look at the source when this is from person. You look at the source as you get older.
Yes.
Right? And you learn the power of saying no. And you learn the power of saying what you, and so I think that for anybody in their younger years, if you hadn't gotten there yet, you will get there.
That's
It's
right.
freeing and it's liberating to be able to say no
Hmm.
and do what the hell you want to do.
That's right.
I mean, you get one trip around and that's it.
That's it.
Um, so can I ask you, we got 10 minutes.
Okay.
I feel like we need like another
Lightning
30.
round.
So how do you feel about the National Book Award? Were you excited? I mean, please share.
Let me tell you. So when I say this was never even a thought, like never crossed my mind, did not consider this as anything that could happen for me in this book. Um, I was watching that whole week. Each day, there are 5 categories for the National Book Awards. You know, nonfiction came out, poetry, translation, um, young people's literature. And I remember reading whatever the fourth one was, and I was like, "Well, when is fiction coming out?" And I kept reading. It was like fiction comes out in the morning. I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm curious about who's gonna be nominated this year." So I was on a call, a Zoom, just a phone call with Frenchie Davis, not the American Idol singer, but the sexologist, my friend Frenchie Davis. We were doing a workshop on sexual freedom, and we were having our
I need to
weekly
come to one of
planning
your workshops.
call.
You got a lot of good
Listen,
workshops.
that workshop was fire. I'll let you know if when we offer it again. So we had like a weekly planning call, and so I'm on the call with Frenchie, but you know how we do, we multitask. So we're talking, and then I see that my Facebook Messenger popped up, and somebody was like, "Congratulations!" And I'm like, "For what?" And she was like, "You haven't heard?" And you know, you hate when people do that. I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And she dropped the link to the New Yorker, and that's where they had been announcing all week. And when I saw that, I apparently screamed, and Frenchie thought that somebody was attacking me because
Right.
I couldn't stop like screaming and to say to her, "I've been nominated for a National Book Award." I was, and she was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I was sitting on the same couch, and I just slid onto the floor. I just was
Yeah.
like, I just slid right out. I could not believe it. I was just so thrilled and so honored and so excited. And not just because I'm thrilled because it's me and my book, but it's short stories, which don't often get a lot of
Right.
respect.
Yes.
It's a university press, it's a little book, all of these things that would count it out. But despite all of that, it was chosen. And so I'm thrilled. And so when that was a long list, when the short list was announced, I knew when and I knew exactly what time. And both of my kids were here, and we were like on all the devices. Everybody's looking. Somebody's at Twitter, somebody's on the National Book Award site, somebody's on the New Yorker site, and we were all looking to see. As soon it was like 10:01 when it came through, and my older daughter said, "You got it."
Oh my God.
And yeah, we had
It's
champagne. We had a Zoom party. It was
it's so, I
great.
mean, but it's so deserving, and it's just
Thank
I
you.
think that it's very authentic. And I think
Thanks.
it's something that everyone can resonate with, especially Black women
Yes.
and Black men, because
Hmm.
it's us, and
Yes.
it's not watered down.
Yep.
And last but not least, well, we got 7 minutes. We're gonna use every bit of these 7 minutes.
Okay.
We had
Yes.
a couple of questions, but it's things that we
Sure.
actually had talked about. So, oh, someone wanted to know: did you do any biblical research while writing this novel?
Yes. So for Jael, especially, um,
And then Michaela may be in here because in Reggie Reed's and Jared's conversation, she gave us the scripture where Jael was
okay.
talked about.
Yes. So, and that's at the end. I end the story with that.
Right.
But I read about Jael years ago. I don't remember where, but I was fascinated by that story because often when we hear about women in the Bible, that's always attached to some man,
Yes.
and it's always, somehow in the margins. But this was a woman that killed this man. He was the enemy, her husband's enemy, or from the general from the enemy army. And then the way she did it, nailing his head to the floor with a hammer and nail, and so that's so gruesome, and
You
it's
feel
so
like that
personal.
sometimes.
Right, it's so personal. Like, how up close and personal must you get to like kill somebody like that? So that story stuck with me. And so things like that, I save it.
Right.
And I pulled it out a couple years back, and I was like, what if there was this 14-year-old girl who was named for her?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be like? Why would somebody name this child that? And what would she be like if there was some, thread from her namesake that impacted who she was?
Mm-hmm.
So then I knew I had a murderous 14-year-old Black girl on my hands, but I didn't know who she murdered. I didn't know what the circumstances would be. And then I started thinking about The Bad Seed, and that was one of my mother's favorite
It's a
movies.
great movie.
Y'all gotta watch The Bad Seed.
That's a
Rhoda
great
was
movie.
no joke.
Reggie said
Rhoda,
her and the great grandmother were the two of the best characters in the collection.
thank you. I
Yeah.
love them too. Giles might be my favorite character. So for to get back to the original question, so when I knew I wanted to end with the story of Giles,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had to look that up because I didn't remember. And then the grandmother quotes a lot of scripture that I knew of from my time in church, but not like I can't. Well, some scriptures I could probably quote, but I needed to go and look them up to make
Right.
sure that I got them right. And sometimes it would be like, oh, she would say such and such because I remember an old lady saying that, whatever in certain circumstances, but I didn't know the exact scripture. So I would have to search for that. So, some research for that. And I'm trying to think if there were other scriptures, other Bible research that I had to do. Nothing's coming.
Okay.
Oh, the honor thy father and mother. I did know without research that people only quote that
the first part. But
and
that's what
not
they
the
do with
second
most
part.
things. They don't go
right. They don't give you
and
that.
I knew that.
context.
I was waiting. I said, oh, she's gonna break it down. She's gonna bring the other part of it. See, I knew that. I was ready
Yes.
for that part to come in.
So I had to look that up because I knew it was something about don't make your kids angry or
Yes.
something, but I wanted to get it right. So so there were things like that to sort of verify, my memory of things, but I wasn't doing a whole lot of heavy biblical research. Is that Reggie talking about?
You know what? So first of all, Instagram is gonna cut us off in 3 minutes. Someone they want to know what you're reading.
Oh, okay. So I got one right here.
I'm gonna get
my homegirl, Dantil Moniz, who is from my hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. Milk, Blood, Heat.
Wow.
I got an advance copy.
Milk, Blood, Heat.
You can pre-order it now. It is set in Duval. I've never read a story set in Duval before. And then Robert Jones, The Prophets. If you heard Robert, son of Baldwin, reading Eula, the end of Eula on my page, get his book.
My niece goes to graduate school in Duval.
Okay.
I think it's North Florida University.
Yeah, that's UNF.
Yep. UNF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just want to thank you. I wish you much luck. It's next Wednesday, right?
Yes, next Wednesday.
Okay, next Wednesday.
So a week from today. Yep, and people can go to the National Book Award site.
Oh, somebody said I get 3. Oh, Reggie, Reggie said I get 3 hours. So maybe we can go just like.
Let's see what happens.
You got 10 minutes.
I remember them talking. Yeah, I got time. This is it. So
okay.
Pages galore. That's exactly how you say Duval.
Duval. That's how you say it. That is.
Yes. And the funny thing is, like, they started doing that with the Jaguars, but the Dope Boys started Duval. That was the Dope Boys that started repping Duval like that.
Yes. My sister lives in Florida, and my ex-husband is from Florida. So I have a strong Florida connection.
Okay.
Yes. So I know a lot about Duval County. What's next?
So, a couple of things. That novel that I detoured from to work on this collection, I'm now unstuck. I now know what I want to do. So, and there's been interest in the novel already. So I need to get cracking on that. There's also interest in adapting this book for the screen.
Somebody else just said that. When is it coming to TV?
I don't know. Working on it. I'm working on it. So there is definitely interest, and I'm excited about that. And so, of course, there's a lot
Jared's
I can't say.
He said Jesus is turning water into Hennessy. He's definitely banned. He's gone. He is gone from it. He's done.
They stay cutting up.
So it's coming to the screen.
Yes. Yes. I can't say much more than that.
Oh, that's fine. We just need to know. I can't wait to see who's going to be who.
Yes. And once it's announced and I can, talk more about it, but I'm really
So,
excited
okay,
about
when it's
that.
announced, you have to come back and we have to celebrate the wine. You have to come back.
Yes, absolutely. I will come back. I will come
Yes.
back.
That
Happy
is
to
amazing. I'm
take
so
all the
excited for
coins.
you.
Thank you.
Well, you know,
I'm looking at
everyone
that.
on here, you have, I mean, Crystal, Melanated Reader, has been talking about this short story collection. I've
Can I
seen it.
just thank all the Bookstagrammers? I will tell you that until I started promoting this book, I didn't know about Bookstagrammers.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew there were a couple of folks, that I knew about, but y'all are an army, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you all so much. That just the like, and you're loving, and you're honest. Like, and it's not like the kind of like, oh, we like this book, and but like real critique. Like, we love this book. This I wasn't in love with. Like, it's such honest critique,
Yes.
and the connections are real, and that's what I really appreciate. So I thank you all for the time you take. You're reading a lot of books, and then you make them look beautiful on Instagram, and then you talk about them, and this is just a dream for a writer. You guys really are a writer's dream, so I
I
appreciate
can't
all of
thank you
the
enough. I literally, I
Bookstagrammers.
mean, people always ask me, how do you get these people on your, and I'm like, I'm the queen of sliding in. You I'm just like,
Ask,
excuse me, I
ask.
have this wine down. Do you drink wine? Will you come on the show with me? And you were so nice up front. I mean, it's just like, I want to talk about your book. I read your book and it is outstanding. And I think
Thank
everyone,
you.
I don't even think it's not just for Black people. I just think it's a great,
Listen, when there was a white man librarian who took a picture holding my book, and people loved that, and he was like, he got into it. I mean,
yeah,
there's no demographic of people that I haven't heard from about this book, and that surprised me, because it proves what something that Toni Morrison said, and that August Wilson said. Basically, Black life is universal.
well, they
There's
found that out
nothing.
last Tuesday.
Exactly. There's nothing in Black life that isn't part of the human experience. You can write about Black life exclusively, and there's nothing in the human experience that you won't capture.
And
Nothing.
then we're resilient, and everybody
Yes.
wants that resilience, right?
Yes.
They want
Yes.
that resilience. And I think that's the thing. We're resilient. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm so thankful that you came on the
Thank
last for
you.
this year.
I'm so honored
I
that
need a
we've got, like
break.
you said, we're going out with a bang. We're going
It's
out.
such a bang. And we've talked Black women, sex, and religion. I don't think, and so I just hold on 1 second. They're calling me the ghost. I'm done with them.
Who you ghost? Oh, you ghosted that man for 30 days?
I did. So you know what? So let me tell you guys. I'm going to tell you the story. So I just,
Okay.
it was Christmas Eve, and I was having dinner with my sister. We have dinner Christmas Eve
Mm-hmm.
all the time, and she was in DC,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had dinner. And we had just opened up a new MGM here, and so I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Yeah, let's walk around." So we walked around, and we went into the club. And she's like, "Oh, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
club on Christmas Eve, but whatever. The kids are grown." And this guy comes up to me, and he's talking Merry Christmas, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks us to a car, and we exchange numbers. And so I was like, "Okay, well, let's have a drink, whatever." Sure,
Mm-hmm.
Merry Christmas. So, and he texts me, and at first I was responding, but then I just stopped responding, right? So the new year
Aww.
came, and I had pneumonia, and so I was like sick and
Oh.
whatever. And then finally, I thought one day at work, I was like, you know what? I met this guy. Let me text him. You throwing the fishing rod out.
Yeah, let's
And
just
this is
test the
why the
water.
story resonated with me.
Wait, they called you the Grinch that ghosted Christmas. Oh my God.
So anyway, so I text him and I said, Happy New Year. And he says to me, Happy New Year. And very flat and very tart,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've ghosted
You
somebody,
can.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's why that story resonated with me. So then finally, maybe like after I said Happy New Year, 30 days later, he responded maybe like 2 weeks later and said, Hey, you want to grab a drink? Now, mind you, it was snowing, it was cold, and so here's snowfall. I
So far,
hate
hate it.
the cold. I
Hate it.
hibernate. I don't come out in the cold. And I said, you know what? Because I've ghosted this person, let me just go have a drink. And so I went and had a drink. And so now 4 years later,
I love, see, happy endings. Happy
but that's the
endings.
story. And so that's why How to Be a Physicist, Make Love to a Physicist resonated with me, because it's like you fight it for so long that you don't recognize when someone good is in your
comes
presence.
along. You just start hearing all the negativity and
don't.
all of the reasons it's not going to work. And you know, she wasn't willing to take a chance on herself because she hadn't been taught that she was worth it, as you said earlier.
But I knew I was worth it. It's just like, I just don't want to be bothered, right? With the after being divorced, you just don't want to be bothered.
Yeah. Well, see, I was divorced and I wanted, I mean, and I'm divorced now. You know, I divorced my second husband. It's like you don't want the nonsense.
I'm so mad.
That's the thing.
That's it. I'm so mad at them. They're like classic story, and now we have it documented. I'm gonna delete my Instagram after this.
Right. But it's like, you know, I'm always like, I try to be open, you know, but it's like you can't waste my time. That's the thing. But it sounds like this guy hadn't even you didn't even give him a chance
at all.
See.
Right. So let me in. So here's the thing. This is all to all you young people out there, and then people that are like, here's the thing. I finally said, yes, I'm gonna go on a date with you. And then maybe like 30 days after the first date, because we're talking about, you know, what you like, you know, you're doing all that. What's your sign? You know, all the above.
Yeah.
And he says, I want to take you out, you know, on a trip for the weekend. And I was like, stranger danger, because I'm a super square. I'm like, no. And I went, and I will tell you, it's the best trip I've ever been on, because I didn't have to do anything but show up, right? Because you have to listen to what I like.
That's
I don't have to plan it. I don't have to plan. I don't have to do anything. I have to go Google, and everything was done.
Oh, they said you got flued out.
I'm so done with them. Somebody said, cut the shit. Stranger danger. Yes.
Oh my God.
So I'm stranger danger. And so my sister's like, you're such a square. Just go on the trip. But anyway, I say that to say I'm very transparent. And a lot of my books that bring friends who became friends with me now, it's you have to, Black women, we deserve it.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Somebody call me Ghost Sigma.
Ghost Sigma.
You are banned for life, Jared.
We got it. There's a whole like dating show that we could talk about. Like
we can,
you know,
we can talk about co-parenting. I mean, we can talk about so much. Achilles, he's done. He really is done.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to send you the link for the wine.
Okay.
And we're going to come back when you win. Or when the other.
And remind me, and if I don't, because wine, I might forget, but I am going to email you. I'm having an after party. I'm having a Zoom after party. So I will send you
all this whole crew is going to be emailing, asking, can we come to the party? Look, claim it.
If anybody DMs me, I will send you an invitation.
There you
I
go,
already
you guys.
invited Reggie and Akil.
They're not invited. They are not invited. They are not invited. But anyway, this has been so much fun.
Thank you.
And I needed the outlet, you guys. Y'all flip Georgia Blue.
Listen.
All you ATLians
I
out
do
there.
not have Tashida's number. Stop that.
I mean,
Reggie.
they keep talking about Tashida. I am so mad.
Tashida was getting flued out. Y'all know she was getting flued out.
They are terrible. This was
appreciate you so much for these laughs.
We're on the same East Coast.
Yes.
When it's safe to be out, we'll have to do dinner and get a drink for sure.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I did that DC drive because my ex-husband, we were long distance. He was in Bowie. That's a whole other story.
I'm in Bowie.
Okay.
I'm in Bowie.
So yeah,
I would do that drive with man. You know, I got a whole other house somewhere else. I would move in. So that's another story for a different day. How ghosted somebody for 30 days
and then moved in. Listen, what did we say? You do whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do. You have to. You have to.
Oh my gosh. I thank you so much.
Thank
you.
you.
And thanks to everybody in the
Chat.
comments.
I love y'all. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for riding with Literary Wind Down. And Deesha, I wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next
All right.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Somebody said, wait, DM me Reading with Galore if you want more information. Goodbye, Nia. Take care. Love y'all.
Bye.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.